Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Kevin Esperanza. Welcome to my podcast. This is two of my employees, Michelle and Girion. Michelle, would you like to introduce yourself?
My name's Michelle. I've been working with Kevin for just, I think I just hit a month. Um,
What did you do before?
I was working with another solar company for about 6 months, and then also working part-time at In-N-Out for like 6 years.
Okay, so you went from In-N-Out to solar.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. You, Girion?
My name is Girion. Kevin and I have been managing Kevin and I have been managing a solar team for about 4 months now, hiring a lot of people. We're at about 12 to 15 right now. And yeah, I mainly focus on training, back-end managing, and growth.
What did you do before?
So before I'm a UCLA dropout. So this was it's probably the biggest decision of my life, quitting school and then starting solar. I was a philosophy major. I was going to go into the law. I was going to go into either a law or be a professor at UCLA. And I was kind of thinking to myself at the time, because it was the beginning of my senior year, and I was wondering if I really wanted to do this, what was making me happy. And so a friend of mine, he mentioned, hey, I have a buddy of mine who does solar, and he barely even works and he makes $80K a year. I was like, oh. So if I don't have to work and I can make $80K a year, I know I bust my ass in everything I do, so I'm sure I'll make a lot more. So without even hesitating, I dropped out of school. This was supposed to be my senior year at UCLA, finishing my year. Applied for a bunch of different solar companies and got hired to all of them except for Sunrun. I didn't get into Sunrun. I was the last person.
That sucks.
Yeah, between me and one other person, and they chose him. He was like a 40-year-old guy, bunch of sales experience. I had none. I lied on my resume saying that I had sales experience by managing some bullshit company. I didn't. But I got hired to a bunch of other Voltaic. I chose that company, and then I started. That's where I met you.
Right.
And yeah, anyone who knows me when I started at Voltaic, they can attest that I was awful. I was so bad.
Nice.
But when I started, I think the main thing that I didn't understand was I didn't understand that human relation to strangers and getting people to want to do things. I felt that because I came from that very logic perspective driven UCLA, where especially philosophy, right? It's like, hey, if this is the right thing, this is the right thing. Like, why would you do it if it's the right thing? And I came into that with that mindset. And I think that's why, I struggled so much.
Right.
I thought, hey, well, if I just tell people solar's great, you can save $100, $200 a month and add equity to the house, it's a no-brainer. But it doesn't work that way, obviously. And I was soon to find out. And I think it was a kind of a lot of different culminating factors why I was able to do so well. Because it took a long time. It took me about 5 months before I was able to really figure it out. I struggled. But it was a lot of different things. The first thing was that I threw myself out into the deep end. I dropped out of school, right? I made it as a make or break situation. I left my parents' house. I became a roommate with you and another good close friend of ours.
Right.
And rent was $2,600 a month, utilities. I did not hold back on the lifestyle that you guys took, right? You guys had already made it. I didn't. I had just lost $15,000 in the stock market. I had $10K in my bank account. We had to make, like $9,000 for a down payment. So I barely had anything. So month by month, I was barely making enough to get by. The only argument that we ever had was about money.
Right.
But yeah, being the fact that I forced myself not to be comfortable and be safe really helped me. And then also just having that necessity to win and to drive, that hunger. Every single day I would send you recordings. I would send everyone recordings. I'd hound people to help me, see how I could get better. I never wanted to stop learning how to get better. And yeah, just working hard, pushing myself, because it was a struggle. Something just clicked after a while because I trusted the process. I trusted you guys. And yeah, then I became a manager before I left the company that I left, and everything was uphill from there.
Yeah, man, I noticed that this year we're only in the third month, and I think I was reviewing your spreadsheets and your payroll. You're at 150 plus something dollars within 2 months. The year just started.
Yeah.
how do you feel about that? I mean, you have accomplished, you know, going through all those struggles that you went through. You dropped out of school. I met your dad. Your dad is a very strict man. How do you see the difference now? Like, what is the conversations that you have with your parents now, coming from dropping out of a great school, now making over 6 figures a month technically, because this is only including the 2 months that I review your payroll, right? This is not including this month now. You've been crushing it. You've been helping her out. So what is the conversations now? You know, you coming from dropping out of school, now you're making 6 figures a month in your bank account. Because before, you know, you didn't have that hunger. Now, what changed for you to have that hunger where in your bank account, like I mentioned earlier, you have that money? And this is me reviewing your payroll sheets and all that.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that's so true is because when you and I went over that stuff with other people higher up, it was kind of eye-opening, because I think that's one thing why I was able to do as well as what I've been doing is because I don't focus on the money. I tell everyone, like, I do not, that's the first time I found out how much money I made.
Right.
I thought it was less.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the main things why I'm able to manage now and do so well with training people, hiring people, motivating people, is because I don't, obviously anyone who says money doesn't motivate them is lying.
Right.
But I think it's a lot of other factors that keep it as a long-term growth. So for me, it's not just necessarily the money that I wake up every day and check my bank account and like, oh, this is great, I'm making this much money. I think what puts a smile on my face is the fact that my team's doing well. Michelle, for example, the first 3 weeks you came in, we worked together, and you were able to make more than $13,000 in your first 3 weeks here, which is crazy.
Actually, I'm going to correct you on that. Her 13 days, your first 13 days in your bank account, you had made over $13,000+ already. This is only within less than a month.
Yeah.
You know, what changed for you prior? Because how much money did you make in your previous solar company throughout the 8 months you were there, or 6 months?
Like 6 months. I think a little bit over just 10,000.
10,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
Wow,
It's
that's
a big difference.
yeah, that's almost like what you made at In-N-Out, right?
More than what I made at In-N-Out for a whole year.
So yeah,
Okay.
one
Way
question
more.
one question about that is, because when you came in, it didn't seem like it was anything that was really unnatural, right? I mean, when you came in, you and I knocked on the doors for like your first couple of days, right? Like the first day after lunch, actually, we met. We went out on the doors and we got some really solid appointments. But what kind of clicked, or what was the big switch from you? Because you were doing solar, it's the same thing, setting appointments. But what was it when you switched to work with us that kind of made you want to do so well, or what happened?
Honestly, I have to give it all to Girion. I always was hearing people say, shorten your pitch, or people were always correcting the pitch. The pitch was very important. But I never really knew how to shorten it or what to shorten it to. And Girion really just got straight to the point. I was listening to that whole first day. I think I just shadowed you.
Yeah.
And you really just showed me exactly what the customer wants to hear, or the homeowner. You just get straight to the point. You're talking for like 30 seconds. You're not beating around the bush. You didn't really get too many people close the door on you, because you just get straight to the point. And that really taught me a lot, and I completely switched my pitch around. So my pitch is super short now. I just get straight to the point. One thing that really stuck out to me that Kevin told me, or told the whole team, was sell the customer on what they want, what you see that they need, because not everybody, well, majority of people are not interested in solar. What they want is not solar. What they need is maybe a new roof or a new meter if they're having problems with their meter, or just to save money.
Right.
Their ultimate goal, or whatever it is that they want, is not solar. So recognize or realize what it is that they need and sell them on that. And solar is the byproduct.
Right.
And that really helped out. 'Cause
Yeah.
the area that we work in, a lot of people have really old meters and they need them upgraded, and people want to save money. It's really expensive where we work. So that really helped me out.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, because I see, like I said, your first week you came in, you crushed it, and you still keep crushing it. For me, it's something that I haven't seen in the industry. At least I talked to multiple companies, right? where someone comes in within the first 3 days, already 9 deals closed. That was like, holy crap, like I haven't seen that, right?
Yeah.
And, big shout out to you and Girion. You guys have worked alongside together. I know that we have other reps, but my thing is like, now that you made, $13,000 plus within literally 14 days, what do you think was the difference beside the pitch? Like, how do you feel now making this amount of money compared to, a stretch that you had to make in 6 months? Like, how do you feel now? Because now I think you put in your 2-week notice also for in and out. You're no longer going to work there.
Yeah, I finally did it. I wasn't ready to do it with the other company. I wasn't as consistent. So I was like, I'm not ready to leave something that I'm so comfortable with. That's like a guaranteed check every 2 weeks. But I finally put my 2 weeks in, and forgot the question because the microphone messed me up.
So what was, now that you made money within a short period of time, the potential that you have?
Oh, how do I feel about it?
Correct.
I'm just ready. I feel very motivated.
Do you know how much you're going to make this year if you keep working the way?
Like 200.
So the right math is $243,000.
Yeah.
You will make and remember, she's only an opener, which a lot of companies call them setters, right? We don't get this a lot. We don't get this in the industry. First year setters, they only make like $50,000, $60,000, right? You in your first year, at least with us, with Girion being your manager, me overseeing that, you're going to make over $240,000 your first year. That's what you're trending right now.
Yeah.
Based on everything that I've reviewed within your payroll and all that. So what is it that you guys like working with each other? Like what did you see different? Because I'm sure you had other closers in different companies, right? What was different with Girion now because you guys work so close? I see it. I see it on the board and all that. So what is it that you guys do differently? Because I want to know, I want to be able to take it all to other managers. Because we have Florida, Vegas, and Texas. So I want to be able to show that to the other managers, what you guys are doing as a team.
Besides, I feel like it's all a word game. So besides Girion being really good with his words and knowing how to explain everything well, he really cares about the customers or the homeowners. I don't know why I keep saying customers. And he'll bring them gifts back a couple of days after. He'll bring them a gift and let them know why he loves his job. And I feel like that really helps and that really matters. And besides that, he's just very motivating. It's always about self-growth with both of you guys. All the meetings, everything's always about self-growth. It's like 70% self-growth and 30% training to go out to the doors. So that makes a really big difference.
Cool. What do you think, Girion? What makes you work so close with Michelle? I know you have other reps to manage. I know everyone is at least doing very well. But what is it that you guys are working close? Because I know she's putting a lot of deals up, which is hard to keep up. Because it is, right? I see it. So what is it?
Yeah, last night I didn't get back until probably like 8:30. Our first meeting was at 11 o'clock. So it's kind of is a common trend now. But yeah, going back to about the money thing too, is the things that motivate me are just seeing the team grow. Because I try not to focus. I feel like what you can get lost up on is just focusing on the destination, like just focusing on the money. But I think one thing that makes me happy, that makes me motivated every single day, is helping the team grow, training. I truly love my job. That's the only reason why I'm still doing this. Working with people, helping people out. It really helps. And I think one thing that it shows in the meetings as well, which is why I think people are able to do so well, is that I think we don't shy away from the things that what I've seen, in other companies that we've worked with that are avoided. Like every day we pitch on the doors, or we pitch to each other. Everyone practice pitches. Nobody's skipped out. Everyone's made feeling uncomfortable, because I feel like the most important thing is being comfortable being uncomfortable, because I don't want to make it happen that anyone gets left behind, right? I think you, Kevin, when you came back from one of the seminars, you made a really good point, is that the most motivating people aren't those people who are the CEOs and they're like, hey, I made like $2, $3, $4, $5 million this year. It's the people who say, I have a team of 10 people, and every single one of those people made over $100,000. Right. I think that's way more important, especially for anyone who's in the position of managing or in a leadership position that should be showing care, not for themselves, but for everyone else around them. So I think the trainings is a very important thing. Not just pitching on the doors as well. Like yesterday, for example, I made every single closer pitch how their closing process was in the house. And so everyone listened and they all gave feedback. Hey, I think you should do this. Hey, I think you should do that. Because I think everyone's so focused on, hey, let's get out on the doors. Like, let's go knock. Like, I don't want to waste time in meetings, or I don't want to waste time on the doors, or I don't want to waste time not being on the doors. But I think if you're knocking on the doors and you have no idea what you're doing, you're wasting your time. And I see that with a lot of people because they're knocking and they send me recordings if they do, and there's so many mistakes, right? Which is normal. Everyone has mistakes. I still have mistakes. That's why I still record myself. You see my phone. I showed you my recordings. I have over 300 recordings. A lot of them I've deleted.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's one thing that's really, really important.
So what I grabbed from you is that the main thing for you is, do trainings every single day, which is objections, door pitch, how to overcome those objections, and also recordings, right? Have every single either opener or closer record themselves. And I think that you've done very well. I know that some of the reps have done very well with that. Because also, too, I know that we have a rep that has been only with us 3 days, right? And he already has his first deal. And I talk to a lot of companies. I get a lot of DMs all the time, and they're like, hey, Kevin, how do you do that? How do you do this? But I think a lot of you guys is you guys. I have to give the credit back to you guys because I'm hardly in the field. I have to be honest. I'm hardly in the field, right? I have other things to do. I have other things to manage. But it's just, what do you think changed for Gage, for example? He's only been here 3 days, and he's already on his own the second day. The third day, he was on his own, and he got a deal where he's now going to make money. What is it that we transition the reps so quick where, they're not waiting 2 to 3 weeks? Because I hear some companies, they do trainings for like freaking a week long. And for me, it's like, Jesus Christ. That's why their turnover is very high, because reps are not getting money in right away, right? So what is it that you think that you helped Gage out? And I have to also, give a shout out to Angie and April, because they played a big role why Gage got that deal. So what do you think was different for Gage in making his first deal in 3 days? He's only been with us I think 6 days now.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Yeah. Big shout out to April and Angela. I think that's another really big part of it, is that when people get brought on, they feel welcomed right away. And also they're given help from everyone that they ask for help. Right. Gage sent me recordings. I'm sure Gage sent recordings to April and Angela and you guys asking for what he can do better. Also, April and Angela were very open when it came to sharing their experience and giving Gage feedback. And I think one thing, it's great that Gage got a deal, but I think one thing that's also just as notable, if not more, is that in 3 days, Gage had a full pitch down. Gage memorized the pitch. Gage was already sending me recordings on the door. And that's cool that he got the technical stuff down. Also, Gage was not shy about knocking on the door. Like the first day I knocked with him, he was already at it. He didn't even know his full pitch, but he was so motivated and so fearless, because it could be daunting on the doors. It's scary. I know a lot of people. I for one, when I used to start, was sitting in my car for an hour, fearful to get out, because I was always a very shy person, very antisocial. But Gage was just hungry in every single aspect, and I think that's one thing what helped him so well. And I think that's another thing that I saw in you as well, is that a great listener, always hungry, always looking to learn, and very little negative aspects about your personality. And I think that's one thing that's so integral about this job, is being moldable, being open, and just willing to learn. I think that's so important.
How do you get that to, because we have a diversity within our team. We have people from 19. I think the oldest person is now 40 plus, I think.
Something like that.
Right?
Yeah. He has kids, family. Right. Yeah.
So what do you do for someone that old to be motivated and also go out there? Because I see two of the oldest reps. They're also crushing it.
They're doing really well. Yeah, they're
So-
doing really well.
So what do you do? You know, because again, like I get all these messages, and it's like, hey Kevin, can you come and train my team? Hey Kevin, can you do this? But sometimes something that I realized at the last event, and I share this with you, was like we have the A, B, and C players, right? How do we make everyone from C to a B, and how do we make everyone from a B to an A? Because everyone talks about, hey man, like we want to make $100,000, blah blah blah. They do a bunch of advertising. Hey, come join tomorrow. We'll make you a millionaire. I don't do any advertising. I don't advertise anything. I really don't. I don't put, hey man, join my company and I'm gonna make you a millionaire tomorrow. It's just the results that you guys are doing is what I think is driving everyone. And something that I think I talked to you about last time is like, I don't get how these companies want their reps to close 20, 30, or even 10 deals a month if their manager has never done it, right? Last month, you closed 20 plus deals. You're a manager, right? So what do you think it is, especially because I get that a lot. It's like, hey, Kevin, how do I get these older folks motivated? What do you think changed with especially those two reps? Because I know they're the oldest ones I think we have in the company. What is it that really changed for them? Remember, they've been doing solar longer than I think both of us. That's what they mentioned.
Yeah.
What do you think changed for them to go out and go get it? Because I know you had a conversation with them.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because it's not the same as someone like Michelle or Andy or someone newer because it's different interests, like you were saying. For Freddie and George, I think the main thing was because they've been working for a massive company, one of the largest companies in the nation, and they were very comfortable. They didn't have to leave. But, I mean, big recommendation to Giovanni. He did a really good job showing them the brighter side. And I think it starts just with, just trusting the process, believing that if you change and if you can kind of be in the right scenario, it's able to motivate you to do better things. And I think it all starts off with the culture and everyone around us. Like when Freddie and George both came in, one of the first things they came up and told me was, hey, Girion, I really, really like the way that you and Kevin are holding meetings. I really like the fact that you guys are focusing on training, not leaving anyone behind, and also focusing on pitching, recording, pitching on the doors in the homes, like not just one or the other. I think it was just that sense of care, honestly. And I think that's one thing that frustrated me so much about working with other companies is that there was everyone, it was kind of like every man for himself. It's like, I'm going to win. You can go yourself. Like, I don't really care. And I think that's one thing in the last company that you and I worked with is that we would have large meetings and it wouldn't really be like, hey, specifically you, I've noticed your numbers are down. What can I do to help you get better? Right. It was just kind of like hype or like, hey, let's just try to motivate everyone with some general speech, like get out there, win the day, and that's it. Right. It was kind of more like general shit and not, hey, individually, how can I help you? That's why I made sure that's why I think recordings are so important. And that's another thing, like Michelle is doing better than everyone else because she sends me recordings every single day. Nobody else has done that. People have sent me recordings, sometimes throughout the week, but it always shows through other actions, like why people care the most and how their performance replicates that. So
how do you think that has helped you, Michelle, sending recordings that, did you do that before?
No, I never recorded myself. Girion's like forcing me to do it and it's really helping. He gives me feedback and just tells me what I should do differently, what I'm saying that's incorrect, what I need to work on, and that's really helping me with my pitch. Feeling more comfortable at the door.
You're a very aggressive person. I think I've been with you once on the field, and I've seen that you're super, super aggressive, but in a good way, right? How does that help you? You could probably share something like that. Like, what do you think helps you get into houses? Because I see the chat, and you're in like at least like 10 plus houses a day, and out of those 10s, I see that Girion tries to close 5 of them, 3 of them credit fail, 2 of them pass. But what is it that makes you like that? Because you're very comfortable. You're you at the door. I've seen you once, and you're yourself. I don't think you try to fake something that you're not. Yeah.
You just have to get comfortable. Once you get over being nervous to get out of your comfort zone, just be yourself. I just have to be myself and know what I'm talking about. If I know what I'm talking about and there's nothing that the homeowner can tell me that I don't know how to answer, then you just feel more confident. That's really it. Just have confidence. I just have confidence in myself.
Do you believe in the product?
Oh yeah, for sure. If I didn't, I wouldn't be able to sell it.
Right.
And
So-
I know if they would just give me this time of day just to hear me out, they're benefiting.
Right. Because I seen that, I think about 95% of her sets close. I think there's that 5% that either credit fail or they don't answer the door anymore, right?
And that 5%, the funniest thing is that people like Michelle so much that I think there's only been like 2 appointments that haven't sat that I've showed up to. Every single one is either credit failed or closed. And those ones were the one where Michelle wasn't there. Michelle's like, oh, this guy loves me so much. This is like a solid deal. But then Michelle's like, oh, I have to, it's a funny thing is that she's so motivated to get recordings. She says, hey, I want to get more recordings. Go close this deal for me. And so I show up and the guy's like, where's Michelle? And right off the bat, he's just a complete dick to me.
Yeah, so I should have stayed.
Yeah, people like Michelle that much.
Because
But
I know you guys also, you incentivize the reps for recordings, right?
everything, recordings, everything. I think that's another thing I was going to get to is that I feel like that's so important is that you make everything fun, a competition, not just focus on knocking doors, right? So instead of, right, like, because knocking doors isn't the most amazing thing in the world. It's fun, right? But it can get tiring after a while. Like, it's hard. It's a hard job, especially when the summer comes up. It's not going to be fun.
Right.
But what I think was so good for Michelle and Andy and other people that we work with is that they weren't just focused on knocking doors. They would tell me like, hey, I need to make sure I knock more for this day so I can get recordings, so I can get that $1,000 at the end of the month, because that was the incentive. I made a bunch of incentives. So if you send me 3 recordings every single day, that's $1,000 at the end of every single month. So think about that. 10 people, let's just be nice, 10 people. We have more now. 10 people send me recordings every single day for every single month. I listen to all of them and I give feedback to everyone who sends me a recording. I give feedback. Michelle, Andy, anyone. So 10 people, that's $10,000 every month, right? Times 12. That's $120,000 every year that if everyone sends recordings, they get, right? But the crazy thing is that it's very difficult to do, right? I mean, that's why only Michelle's done it so far. And honestly, I mean, let's say everyone did it, right? I still think that it would be worth it.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Just because with the money that they're making, right, and the money we're making with that, helping them close deals, things like that, I don't see it as a negative at all. And I really believe that. Yeah, I really believe that.
Because I know we have daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly.
Yeah, 8 appointments that you sit, or 8 appointments from setters that set that we get in, whether it credit fails or we can't close it. Every week, that's $300. If you close 4 deals a week as a closer, that's $300. Also, just simple stuff like if you show up on time to the meeting every day for a month, then we go out and we go to a nice dinner. Like last week, we went to the Perch, all expenses paid for, alcohol included. We went to the rooftop bar after, everything was covered, right? So it's things like that where I think it's fun not to just be like, hey, show up, this is a job, but kind of make it more of a community. And it pisses me off just because I've seen so many, like, it's so overused as a phrase, like, oh, we have the best culture, we have, best whatever, things like that. But when it actually comes down to it, it's kind of more like, hey, the company's rich, right? Your red line's high as fuck, so I'm just going to pay for whatever the fuck I want. Like, here, everyone go to Miami just because I have so much money and I'll do whatever, right? Like,
Right.
we have probably the lowest red line in the industry right now. And our reps have the lowest red line in the industry for reps, like lower than any manager that I know of. Right. And we know a lot of people. And yeah, we're still incentivizing them with everything, right? So I think it just kind of shows that it's not just about, flossing and, bragging about how much you do, but actually showing it through the actions. And I think that's why people join, people come, and people stay, and people love the way we do things.
Because I know that we also incentivize on recruiting, right? I think April is going to make, $8,000, if I'm not mistaken, on like recruiting within a short of 10, something like
8,
that, right?
Yeah, 8. Yeah.
So, we throw bonuses for like hey man, you show up pretty. Like we throw bonuses all the time, right? But something that I've seen, because you have done very well compared to the teams that we have. Like we have a Texas team, 60 plus reps and 5 managers, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think we're so dominant here in California? Because I hear this all the time. Everyone's leaving to Texas. Like everyone in the solar industry is like Texas, Texas, Texas. And here in California, we're like pushing 20 plus deals a month as an individual. You as a setter, you're doing like 25 now. It's like, what do you think is the difference there that we're competing against even within our company? Like I mentioned, we have 60 plus reps and we kick their ass like 2 months in a row already.
And they're blitzing too, like 24/7.
Correct.
That's a good question. I think honestly, it's a lot of factors, right? Starting from the front, right? I think it's so important to lead from the front, not just in deals, right? I mean, you and me, we probably close over 40 deals every single month, right? And those aren't just appointments that are set by setters, right? Like every single day, like it's tough now. I mean, February was the first month where I actually had setters. Before that, every single deal I closed was self-gen, like 95%, 99%, right? So it was a big shift for me because I was like, I really like knocking. I like, harvesting my own deals. So like, how do I make time for that now? Because I didn't want to get lazy and just become someone who's like, I can just sit back because I know Michelle's great. I know Andy's great. I know April, Angela. Like I know all the setters are great. I don't need to work, right? But like yesterday, for example, I busted my ass when I had some free time. I had like an hour or two of free time. So I called up Gage. I said, hey, Gage, great job yesterday on the deal. Let's go shadow. Or come shadow me. I want you to see how I knock, right? Because we didn't really have that alone time yet. So I knocked first homeowner that answered that was a qualified buyer. He was about $7,000 in debt, shitty roof, shitty main panel, still had fuses, but he used a lot of electricity. But the first thing he said is, I don't want solar. So overcame that, got his bill. He was about it. So I was like, hey, let me come back in like 30 minutes. Once I have everything ready, we'll close it. As I'm doing that, Andy calls me. He says, hey, I need an appointment, or I have an appointment for you. I want you to come. So it was just kind of like, for me, I'm always going at like 120%, just trying to make sure I don't have any downtime. Every time during the day, I have no downtime.
Right.
So I closed that deal as a self-gen, went to go close a deal that I thought was going to be a set appointment, but Andy's impressed me so much where in a month, he's already started to close deals. So I split this one with him 50-50, even though he's a setter, because he helped me translate with Spanish.
Right.
And Andy's becoming a beast now. Right. So it's things like that where you have to lead from the front. Like I just can't be a lazy ass and just sit on my back waiting for appointments.
Right.
Right. So it's that. Right. That's why every single month I'm closing over 20 deals. This month I already have like 8 or 9 deals. Right. So I'm going to get more. Also, it has to come down to trainings. Right. Trainings, like every single thing that involves the team has to be top tier. It can't just be me pushing deals, screwing everyone over. It can't just be me training people and then not pushing deals, right? So everything has to be running smoothly. And then that's how everyone's able to see, okay, great. So trainings are great. People are closing a lot more deals than me on the field. That's going to motivate me to become better because I don't want to be the worst. Also, what we're doing right now is we have a March Madness where we have brackets. Right. Which is another fun incentive, right? So it's not just incentives, it's not just everyone doing well. It's like, hey, now we have friendly competitions where that's going to be like, because I know everyone that's on this team hates losing. Like nobody likes losing.
Who are you going against? I don't remember.
What's the guy's name? Chris Moraga.
Oh, that's going to be good. Yeah, that's going to be really good.
He's a really good guy too.
He's a beast. Yeah.
So that should be fun.
Yeah.
So what is it? So what do you think, Girion? So, we've covered like your trainings, how you manage your reps, and also too for you, Michelle, we cover how you're setting recordings. What else do you think has helped you here and keep succeeding the way that you're doing it? Like, what else do you think besides all this other stuff, the trainings, because it could get boring. Trainings in reality could get boring, right? But besides that, because you're so consistent, every week you're consistent, right? So what do you think changed? If you could give me 2 things that you think changed on that.
Changed from
before to now,
the other company? Well, besides what I already said about completely changing my pitch, I have to give it to you guys too. I have to give it to myself as well. I am the one that's motivating myself, but I have to give it to you guys too. Like you guys are saying, Freddie and George, they came from Sunrun and they weren't doing as good as they're doing now. What's the common denominator? It's you guys, it's the team. So just everything, the way that you guys hold the meetings, even you talking about how successful you are. Someone might take it as bragging, which I did honestly at first. I really did. But when you really think about it, that's what's gonna motivate you. Like if this guy's doing it, I can do it too.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I mean, it's working. If I felt like it was bragging at first, that's what's motivating me.
And I appreciate that, because I think from our group of friends, I'm the one that has the Rolexes, the cars, and all this shit, right? And my friends, they make good money, but they don't do it. But also, too, I mean, it's hard work. I've been in the industry for 3 years now, right? And I've tasted a little bit of everything now. And now it's like, how can I improve my team? How can I improve other companies, right? And this is something that I actually had a conversation a few days ago. I was on a Zoom call, and exactly the same shit that I just talked about. Hey, Kevin, how do I get my team? And I'm like, how many reps do you have, by the way? Oh, I have 90 reps. I was like, holy shit. I said, okay, well, how many managers? Oh, I have 2 managers managing those 90 reps, right? And I'm okay, well, how many deals is your manager doing? They said last month is 8. I said, what is your top rep doing? 8. So you see that, right? It flows. Whatever the manager is doing, everyone else is going to follow. You're doing 20, she's doing 20 plus. So it all flows, right? And that's the reason why, I mean, it's not even only her. We have other reps are crushing it. Angie. Like now Andy's doing very well as a new rep as well. I think every single one of you will hit 6 figures. I give it by June. Yeah. Just because the way you guys are working and the way that Girion and everyone else is incentivizing them, I think you guys will hit 6 figures by June.
Yeah, I do want to say that's really important what you said earlier, leading from the front. You're out there with me. I knock with you. You're my manager. That's not to say anything bad about the previous company, but I don't know if it was they didn't have enough time, but I never knocked with my managers.
Oh,
so it was always planned to, but it never happened.
Right.
That's even worse.
Yeah, so it's a...
Yeah. No, and it's true because...
that matters. You guys literally are leading from the front. You guys are out there with us on the next street knocking if you're not in an appointment. So that's
crazy because we had this conversation, like I said, in a Zoom, because like, hey, Kevin, how do I get everyone motivated? And I'm like, bro, I think I'm the least motivating person you fucking should be talking to. Like, bro, I don't really know, but I think it shows, right? Results are going to show. I've been doing same thing, 20 plus. I'm still managing. I'm still doing this. I'm still doing that. But I think it's just success will all connect, right? It becomes like an energy chain, right? So if I'm doing 20, you're going to do 20, and it's going to go so on and so forth, right? So what do you think what are your goals right now, Girion, for as a team, as a company? What is it that you're going to do now for the team, for yourself, for the company? What are you visioning?
So right now we have our goal for this month is 60 deals, CRC, right? So it's not sloppy deals. And I think that's another thing too, right? Like one thing that I focus so much on is that I have no non-clean deals. Every single time I close the deal, I do the VSS, submit the DSF, right? Everything's done properly. I think the main thing for me is that I really want everyone to hit 8 deals a month. I said that in February. Some people had some problems that didn't allow it to happen. But I think if I get all closers to 8 deals a month, that's going to make me really happy. That's one thing that I tell myself. Like that's one thing that motivates me right now. Is 8 deals for everybody. I think that's so important. I think just 8 deals and then also helping people that just start transition to closers, because I think that's one thing that I want to be very careful of right now, which I see a lot of companies doing, is that they hire so many people and then everyone who gets hired is just fucked, because it's like I'm so busy training people that I know are not 100% and I want to make sure they're 100%. So I don't have time to devote it to everyone right now. and I'm seeing it kind of happen. That's why we've kind of held back on the recruiting. But I think probably in about 2 weeks, we're going to be ready again to take on some more people, because Andy's really impressing me with how well he's doing. Andy's becoming like last night. I told him, like, bro, like, you don't need me. You do not need me. Like, maybe for a couple more deals, but then after that, like, you're really set. And then I was telling Michelle too, like, hey, you're doing so well on your own. Like, you don't need me to like check up on you, motivate you, because I do. Like, if I don't see people are performing, that I'm checking up on you, right? But that's what I was telling Michelle, like, hey, like, keep it up, and you're going to be managing setters, getting overrides on setters, right? Because that's another super important thing. Because you and I, right, we can only handle so much, right? And I devote as much time as I can. Like, even when I get home, like, you and I are going over emails for the pipeline, like, I'm listening to recordings. But I think hiring more managers is another goal. Talk to April about it as well. And just making sure that everyone's set. I think that's just really another important thing, because, yeah, I do want to expand. I do want to bring people on, but in due time also, and making sure that everyone's taken care of.
I think, yeah, because every single one of our reps is somehow performing at a high level where they wouldn't perform. Like, you know, we could say that we got the short end of the stick, but we're giving these people a second chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this second chance has really blown my mind. Like, either people left because they weren't getting treated well or whatever the story was, right? But something that I've seen with every single rep, from the newest to the oldest, is like every single one of them is out there motivating. Like Giovanni, like, you know, Giovanni has been doing solar, I think, as long as I have, right? But he was like a 4 to 5 deal a month guy. Yeah. Now he's out in the trenches every day, closing, calling me, asking questions. And I think that's the reason why he's able to succeed. And something that I take back from them is like, our leaders would never close this amount of deals. Our leaders will never get to even 10 a month. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck, that's hard for me if I don't do it. Like, I can't afford it. Like, I really tell these guys, like, I think we had a conversation the other day, like, and I think it was like her first day that she started. I'm like, what's your goal? She goes, 10,000. I'm like, you just fucking made that in like 13 days. So now it's like, what is your really goal, right? Because 10,000 is easy. Yeah. I think getting to 100,000, it's the hardest. Like, when I got to 100,000, I was knocking from like 8 a.m. in Vegas to like 9, 10 p.m. Making not even close to what you guys are making. I had to close 20, 30, 40 plus deals a month. No setters, just out there. So you see how easy it was to make $10,000. And that was your goal.
A month.
Right. And you just made it in a week. Mm-hmm. So do you realize how sometimes we just put a cap on our goals? Like, a lot of times we don't go beyond that. And that's the reason why I always push you guys. For you, it might be motivating, like, oh yeah, 10,000 a month. For me, it's like 10,000 a month. Like, are you serious? Like, that's probably my car payment or something like that, right? So, you know, it's never limit yourself. I think if you start limiting yourself, you're going to stumble, and you're never going to get there. And I think I see this in the industry so much. You know, people that have been in the industry for 2 years, they never made over $80,000. Yeah. And they're managers. And I'm like, holy shit, like, you're a manager and my rep just made more than you as a setter. For me, is how can we change the game by just training, you know, developing leaders like yourself. I encourage a lot of seminars. I go to a lot of seminars. I incentivize you guys to go to seminars. Like, everything's going to be paid for, right? So those are the things that I think that has helped you guys, and our team is just whatever I learn, I bring it back to you guys. I'm not greedy. I think that's something that I've done for the longest, where, you know, now you're doing it where we don't really care. Like, I think we don't care. And it's so hard for me to say, but I don't really give a anymore. Like, I'm here now. It's like, what do you guys want? I told you guys, my dream is to buy every single one of you guys Balenciaga shoes. Who the fuck is going to do that? He's like, bro, why are you going to do that?
Just give me $1,200.
Right? So for me, it's like stupid things like that. What it's going to make me happy now. It's like giving back to all my company, to my teams. It's like, shit, like, I want my team to look the sharpest. So, I don't know, Girion. I mean, what do you think about you know, the blitzing, I know that we blitzed it and we crushed it. Like, we did, I think, 40 something deals in 2 weeks. I don't even remember anymore.
And that's also, I think that's one crazy thing is that when we were blitzing, it was just 3 closers.
Yeah.
And then one person coming up because he had a wife and kids, right?
Right.
He would come up part of the time and he would close. Right. So everyone was averaging like 10 deals or more.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Yeah, I mean, blitzing is one thing that I think there's a good balance to it. It's one thing I talked to Michelle and Andy. I think blitzing can be really important, but not over blitzing. Because one thing that you and I saw when we worked for another company is that we would blitz for 3 weeks. Everyone would just be dead. They'd come back, not work for a week. Right? And the numbers would be pretty good, but I feel like with sustained, it could be a lot better. Also, another thing is that blitzing, it's usually going to a place where you know it's going to be easier.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the times what we've seen is that people get so comfortable blitzing in that those
can't
easy
sell
places
back
where
home.
they can't sell. Like
Yeah.
we sell in DWP, hard as fuck. Not gonna tell you where, but where people are just dicks.
Think about it. I remember in the Valley, like everyone in Fresno, I remember they were like, "Hey, bro, how are you crushing it?" I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, you guys are from Fresno and you guys are not crushing it?" It's like things like that,
easy.
right? It's like, fuck to us is like, oh, we're going to go blitz in Fresno. It's super easy.
Easy money.
It's like, you guys are struggling. We just made over 50 deals in 2 weeks. So, you know, something that we taught the reps is like, okay, well, take care of your customers, give them gifts as soon as you close. You think that has played a big role where the cancellations, I think we only had that month, that 2 weeks that we went blitzing, we only had 6 cancels.
Yeah. And I mean, one thing that I told Michelle too is that, I mean, look, there's going to be people who cancel the next day. You know, I mean, one thing that the only cancels I have right now are from one-leggers. And that's just because for time, I don't have a lot of time. I can't be like, okay, I'm in a house for like 30 minutes. This person's trying to BS me like, hey, no, I want to sign up, but oh, my husband. So I signed it up anyways and it canceled. Those were 2 cancels. Every single one of my jobs that's lasted for 2-3 days, because I usually wait like 2 days and then I drop off flowers. In my entire time knocking, only one person's canceled. And the reason that they canceled is because it was a one-legger.
Right.
So I think it's not just giving gifts, but it's one thing that I learned is that it's just showing as much care as you can, which is what I learned from you, right? Like, people love you. Like, customers love you. Homeowners love you. And I think it's one thing that what I learned is that when I'm in the house, I think the main goal is that not to try to give them something, or like try to sell them something, is try to find their needs and help them. Like, I really try to phrase it, and I really try to, and I mean it too, is that anything that you guys need, please let me know. And I fight for you guys to try and help you guys as much as I can. Like, I really try to make sure that anything you guys need, I help you with and it can get done.
Right.
Right. I say I'm always 10, 15 minutes away. This is my personal phone number. Please use it. And yeah, I tell them about the process. I send them updates every other week at least. And then also another thing is that when I leave, I think one thing that means a lot is that I mean it when I say, hey, like, when are you going to be home? Like, when are you going to be available when I can come by and stop by and let you know how things are going? Because I don't like phone calls. I like stopping by.
Yeah.
And I really mean that. And when people tell me, I show up. I show up with flowers. I show up with the gift. I ask them how they're doing. And I think that's one thing that's just so missed out on is that everyone looks at homeowners like dollar signs.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, any aspect when you're focusing on the money, it just kind of destroys your job.
Yeah,
right?
bro. I mean, I tell some of the reps and other companies that I train is like, bro, like, it's $10 going to hurt you. You just made $5,000 dollars.
It's a tax write-off.
Right? It's
It's like,
it's crazy. I mean, you know, we taught you that the same thing is like, go drop off something to your homeowners, like as openers or setters, whatever the title in the industry calls them. I just think you guys are all the same because we're all in the trenches. But I also teach you guys to go drop off gifts and go drop off whatever you guys desire, right? What do you think about that? Like, how do you feel? Did you guys ever do that? I don't know if the other company. So
No, we didn't, and it's helped. I don't think we've had any cancels. Actually, we did the one-legger, right?
yeah, the one-legger.
Oh no, that wasn't even mine.
there
No,
you go.
we had
She
no
has no
cancels.
cancels.
We have no cancels.
Just one. Yeah, just that one-legger.
Oh yeah, we
That's
did.
because
we
they
did.
wanted a battery, and I was like, I'm
One-legger.
not going to give you a battery. You're
But
out of your
also,
mind.
I want to say, because anybody that knows solar is probably like, that's why we don't do one-leggers. But we have a lot of one-leggers too that still go through. Another good thing that I really like about you guys is it's not so, you guys aren't so stuck in a how do you say that saying? Stuck
Like a
in
bubble?
a box. Like if there's a one-legger and you know their husband or their wife really doesn't make all the decisions, or they live in another, they're in Mexico right now or something like that, you guys will still help them out. In the past, or you guys do appointments whenever. Like in the past, it's been appointments can only be at this time, like strict rules.
Really?
Yeah, so that's another really good thing that I like about this company is you guys are down to help anyone out, whatever time, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, remember I mentioned to you guys in the last meeting that I was there. It's like, freaking, the hours are going to change. We're going to be out in the trenches like at 9 p.m., you know? And I think that's, as a leader, it's something that I've shown you guys that I'm out there too. I'm not just, and I'm very open with my pay. I think that's very important. I'm super open. You guys know all that. You guys, I tell you guys overrides. I tell you guys bonuses. I tell you guys everything, right? Because I think that's what it should be like. Why the fuck should I hide all this shit from my reps? No, because I want them to get eventually to where I'm at. Because they see all the, not just benefits from it, but also you can make a little bit of side money, right? I don't hide this shit from you guys. I don't. And I think that's something that I've done that a lot of people's like, oh yeah, don't share this with your reps, or don't share this with my reps. To me, it's like, why not? My reps know the KPIs, they know the goals, they know the company goals, they know all this shit, because that's what's going to help us get to the next level as a company. If somebody walks in and they says, yeah, man, what's your company goal? I don't fucking know. How stupid do we look? So they don't even know what to reach. They're just out there knocking. They don't even know what to reach for, right? And it's very hard to manage that because, bro, I go through this every single week. I sit down with at least 3 to 4 different companies a week, and for me, it's like, holy shit, like, damn, why do they make it so difficult? Like, for me, honestly, like, thinking about it now, it's like, it's so difficult for me to even, I literally sit there and try to process everything when I talk to these companies. It's like, bro, I don't even know what to tell you. Like, I don't. Like,
It's because it's so simple. I
Yeah.
feel like they're looking for like some magical solution.
Yeah,
Just, like,
like-
just get out there, stop being fucking lazy.
right, like
go
bro,
out there,
it's so
help people.
hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard, and sometimes I'm like, bro, don't even pay me, bro, because I think you know the answer. As CEOs, as managements, we know the answers. It's just that they don't want to know the reality. That's the fucking difference.
They just expect people to just like go out there and learn it on their own. Like they feel like,
Right.
yeah, new people are just going to solve all their, like, just going to go out there, learn everything and start producing, but it's not the case.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, it's just crazy how the industry, and I don't know, I'm just super proud of you, Michelle. I seen you like, holy shit, you completely like restructure the goals as a company. Now you have everyone on their toes. It's like all the openers that we have, you're like, holy shit, I want to be like Michelle. Like, because they were only used to doing like 5 deals a week.
Yeah.
You came in, 9 deals in 3 days, and you still just on fire. So for that is just, man, like, just continue it. Keep crushing it. You will hit your goals. You will hit your dreams. And I guarantee you keep doing what you're doing. If you haven't done the math yet, and I did it for you, you will hit 6 figures before June. If you start implementing everything that you have done at like a higher level, you will hit 6 figures. And how old are you?
25.
25. Okay, how old are you?
22.
22. So make 6 figures with his first 2 months, almost close to like 200,000 within 2 months. You're 25, came from In-N-Out, came from another company. You made more than what you made in 8 months or 6 months, I don't know, and the other company. So yeah, I mean, it just, I'm super proud of both of you guys. I don't even have words to tell you guys how proud I am. Just keep raising the bar. Any help, anything, just let me know, man. Like, yeah.
That's another good question. I mean, now that you're at where you're at, it's so easy to get complacent, right? Because
Yeah.
like 10 grand, right? That's a lot, right?
It's
'Cause I
actually
remember,
more.
yeah, okay. It's probably like 20 grand now.
Yeah.
But like when you didn't have that before, like now that you see that and it's in your bank account, how do you stay motivated? Like what keeps you motivated?
Just my goals.
Yeah.
My goal is to, you want me to say what my goals are?
Yeah, sure,
ahead.
sure.
My goal is to buy a house in Big Bear and Airbnb it out
By when?
by the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is easy to get comfortable. Like, I find myself wanting to go shopping, but I just have to keep my mind set on my goals, what my goals are. So that's really what keeps me from not getting comfortable.
You know something too, she mentioned goals, and before we cut this off, you remember that when we write our goals, and because we've done this for many companies, we write our goals, but really we don't know the destination. Like, we don't know the roadmap, right? Something that we've done with the team is like, okay, if you're going to get 10 deals this week, how are we going to get there? How are you going to get there? How many doors is it going to take? And I think we helped every single one of our reps understand. Do you remember what does it take? We set the math. You remember what does it take?
How many doors?
No.
Make
To make
100K.
100K in a year?
Oh, how many sales?
Commission, technically.
Commission per month.
Commission per month to make 100K. It was
Yeah.
like 9,000,
No.
8,000.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
8,333.
Oh, yeah.
So remember that. So a lot of times, we go over this with the reps. They don't even know how to make 100K. So that's why it's so difficult. Even as us as the leaders, I was just making money and I didn't even know, right? But if we write the roadmap and we draw it out, like every stop that's gonna get there, like, okay, by June I'm gonna have this, and this. It's like, shit, it has helped me throughout the last 2 years.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that why it was so good. I feel like when you brought it up that we went over last week with the entire team was, what are your goals? And not just like, hey, I want to make X in a year, right? That's just some BS that companies do just to get, I don't know, people hyped up, but like specifically plan it out. And it's so important now. Like for me, I remember everything like the back of my hand. Like I know from start to finish where I'm going to go and where I want to be. Obviously in like a year or two, it can't be specific, right? But I still have goals that I think like every day I wake up and I think that, right? I know that, right? So starting from the beginning, right?
What's your goal for the day, even?
Right. So starting from the beginning, 11, when we have our meeting, all the way till sundown, I know that entire time is dedicated to work. Also, in the mornings, in the evenings, when I have extra time, I focus on pipeline, I focus on recordings. Any help from anyone else, right? Also, weekly, monthly goals, right? Last month was 20. I crushed that. This month is 30, right? So I break that down. Okay, on a weekly basis, how many deals do I need, right? So just be nice, right? Like 4.5 weeks. So that's 4.5 deals, right, for last month. This month, probably like 5.5, 6 deals. So I need to make sure that every single week I'm hitting that, right? And then yearly, right? Yearly goals. What do I want every year? Okay, this year my goal is 500K, right? I'm already on pace to get that and then some, right? So then after that, bi-yearly goals. Like what do I see in the future after my yearly goal? Okay, I want this car. I know exactly what my car is going to be. 911 GT3 RS, right? And it's not a goal where it's like, oh, I want this car above anything else. It's, hey, I want to be in a position where I'm so comfortable that that's like nothing to me, right? That's like a tenth. It's like a tenth of my net worth or a tenth of my income for the year, right? And then after that, Kevin and I have already started talking on investment homes, things like that, investing in different crypto companies. We're already working on a lot of things like that. And I think that's why it's so important to plan your roadmap just so you never lose sight. And then always adding to it as well, always adding to it.
Yeah, I think that's something that, we focus within our team. I think that you guys done very well with that. It's how do we help you draw your success map? Like, I don't know what to call it, but I think we'll call it how to, get your success map done, right? And now I have 3 coaches personally myself that are helping me with investments, that are helping me with my business, that are helping me with solar. It's like a lot of people's like, Kevin, why do you have 3 coaches? It's like, that's a lot of money. I don't really think about the money now. I think about how they're going to add value to me. How can I add value to you guys? Because at the end of the day, I switched my mindset 2 years ago when it used to be about the money. Now it's like, how many people can I impact? How many people can I help? My biggest goal is to make sure my entire company is doing 6 figures. My reps are doing 6 figures, and we said it already. I want you guys to be, this year is going to be where we go to any conference, and when they ask you how much money did you make, by June, I want you to say 6 figures. I don't want you to say it. I want you to freaking show them. That's what's going to drive me nuts. That's what's going to drive me like, holy shit, like I'm doing my job. Because right now, yeah, my job is to sell solar. My job is to run teams. Well, that doesn't really like fulfill me. What fulfills me is I helped you achieve your dreams. Because my mentors before, when I started in the industry, they helped me reach part of my dreams. Well, my dreams keep changing. I'm a fucking guy that my brain just goes and goes and goes. And I tell you, my biggest fear is to go broke. Like 100,000 to me doesn't mean shit. And I want you guys to start thinking that way. Because think about it, like everything, people are complaining about gas prices. I don't even look at I didn't even know this. Like, I pump gas, like, I don't know, I think it was on Monday. And they're like, oh my God, like, it's 6 something. I was like, how much did my car get filled with? Oh, 150. I was like, oh, okay. Like, you see, things like that, I don't pay attention to anymore because I'm like, oh, like, it's gas, who cares? And it's the same thing also, too, like, when we go to customers, this is too expensive. Because we get that a lot. Like, why are you charging more than this company? Oh, yeah, because it's my service. It's me. I'm going to answer my phone 24/7. Customers call me at 6 a.m. I answer my phone. That's why I have 2 phones. If a customer's mad, we had this conversation yesterday. Customer was livid. Livid. And I was there. I showed up in person. I said, hey, what's going on? Kevin, fuck this. And I'm like, that's out of my control. They go, okay. He gave me a referral. I closed a 10.8 kilowatt. You realize that? If he was really upset at me, or was he upset at the company? The company, I mean the installation company, right? Which I tell them all the time, they're human beings installing your solar. They're not robots. Nothing's going to be perfect. So I make them aware. But somehow we still have those customers that flip out. How do I control that? They're not mad at me. They're mad at whoever installed it, right? So again, I got a referral from it. It was a win-win for him. I actually gave him his referral money up front so he could kind of ease out. But also, we went to a customer, everything we made some mistakes. What did the customer say? I love Kevin, but I don't like the company, which was the installation company. It was actually not the company. It was LADWP. LADWP did some stuff. I'm like, yeah, I hate them too. It's like, thank God it's not me. It's like, yeah, it was LADWP when they did the meter something. They like did something to one of the corners of the guy's house, and he got mad. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, I don't work for LADWP, so we're cool.
That's why I think it's so important where I try to teach that mind shift where it's like, you're not there to sell them something or to be like, hey, let me do something, where it's like you giving something where you're on one side of the court, they're on the other side of the court, right? Instead, you have to join their team and be like, hey, I'm with you. I'm here for the process with you. Like, let me help you achieve this, or let me help you get your meter done. Let me help you get solar so your bills can be reduced, right? Because it's so easy if you're like a salesperson, right, and they view you as a salesperson, all they're thinking is like, what is this person trying to get out of me,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then if they view you on their team that you're trying to help them, then it's a completely different mindset, right? Because you're on their team, you're trying to help them out. You're not trying to benefit from them. You're not trying to benefit from them in some way. So when things go wrong, I feel like that trust that's been built up is so important,
Right.
because then they still trust you and they'll still, ask you for help and not cause a problem that's bigger than it should be.
Right. Cool. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Michelle, for coming. Thank you, Girion, for coming. I think our next topic is going to be, how do we get referrals? I mean, I think the month of December and November for me was one of the greatest in the industry. I think I ended up with like 37 referrals and then 35 referrals. So that's going to be the next topic with some of the guys that I know in the industry that are doing the same amount of volume and referrals. You're getting there. I know that we're going to pump those numbers up like freaking Wolf of Wall Street, right? Those are rookie numbers.
Rookie numbers.
So, yeah, I mean, I highly encourage. We're going to start a huge training on that. But cool, man. Thank you guys. Yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you.